In the beginning of 2024, I made a life-changing decision. I spent the last 365 days locked in the studio. I made close to 200 tracks and completely changed my sound. In this video, I'm going to share with you what it's like locking in for a year and was it worth it? I cannot believe it. They want to sign one of the tracks that I sent. Everything I'm making, it gets frustrating when this happens. 2023 was a crazy year for me because I was living the music producer dream. I had my own amazing studio and I was working with artists pretty much every day doing sessions. And at the same time, in the beginning of 2023, I just started learning how to DJ. Just got my first DJ controller, let's go. I got some beginner decks, started practicing transitions, and just taking my first baby steps into it. If I get to turn on the fucking fader. One day I was at the train station and I bumped into a guy called Tom. He came up to me, he said he watches the channel, he's a fan of the videos, and he also told me that he runs a festival called Into the Woods every summer. It's a huge house event, they book some of the biggest DJs and have thousands of people show up. And honestly, without even thinking about what I was saying, I just blurted out, I've just started DJing, I would love to do a set there. Now at this point, I had never played a show in my life. And I hadn't even made house music before. But luckily for me, he actually gave me a shot and he put me on the bill. The festival was in July 2023, which gave me about 3 months to prepare. But I've got to be honest with you, I left it super last minute. I was still pretty much locked in working with artists, working on their own projects. But once July the 1st came around, I decided to lock off all the sessions and just focus on making house music and figuring this all out. And honestly, I had no clue what was about to happen next. But this was the most fun I had making music for a very, very long time. I rocked up to the festival, plugged my USB in, and I played my first set as a DJ. A lot of the tracks being my own. I had a phenomenal time, but it didn't actually go to plan. I quickly realized that the set that I had put together was maybe just a little bit chill for a festival vibe. It went okay. I'm satisfied with that as a first, as a first mix. What I'm most happy with is the tracks that I produced got the most reaction, which is cool. But I think I needed something a bit more energetic, but I'm cool with that, that's calm. I definitely felt like my performance wasn't amazing. After the festival, that was pretty much it. I went back to the studio, locked in with artists and started working on their music once again and focused mainly on getting placements. At the back of my mind though, I couldn't stop thinking about DJing and making my own dance music. Things did start to feel a little bit off. It felt like my gut was just telling me, you should really give this DJing thing another shot. Which at the time seemed quite scary to do because I felt like all these years I had been building up to this moment to finally be locked in, finally be doing sessions, to kind of give it all up. It didn't really make sense on paper. And that's when I made the craziest decision of my life. So I'm going to be leaving the studio for good. My time here is done and it's time for a new chapter. I packed up everything, left my dream studio, and I moved to Thailand. It was mainly just to switch up my surroundings, get away from the noise, and just lock in on doing my own thing. I got a place, set up a little studio, and the goal for 2024 was simple. Make tons and tons of music. By the way, if you want to level up your music too this year, I have just relaunched my exclusive community where you can come in, connect with other producers, get feedback on your beats, and just connect with me. I'm in there every single day. And the best part, it's 100% free. We're keeping it on Discord. If you want to join, I've got a link in the description. Go ahead, click that. Once you're inside, introduce yourself by letting us know who you are and what your goals are. I definitely want to turn this into a vibrant place where producers can come in and just thrive. Click the link in the description, that will take you to Discord. It expires in like 7 days. For some reason, Discord makes it expire. So don't delay it and I'll see you inside there. I wanted to spend a lot of the time this year learning everything I could about making dance music, specifically underground techno and hard house, without having any distractions or any pressure to release anything, and really just experiment and get good at making this kind of music. Even though I was becoming a beginner again, I wasn't a complete beginner. I had all the technical knowledge from making drill and trap beats all these years, and I also knew exactly the sound that I wanted to go for, the taste. It was just really, I didn't have the reps of making this kind of music. Can't lie, the first few months, it was a little bit tricky because at the end of the day, you just don't know what you don't know. And there wasn't a lot of help, a lot of tutorials online for the kind of music that I was trying to make. In the beginning, a lot of the tracks that I was making sounded a little bit amateur. Almost a decade of music production, and I was starting to feel a bit like a noob again. So I spent 8 to 12 hours a day just trying to find tutorials online, going through courses on mixing and sound design, and really becoming a student. In the beginning, I was a little bit naive because I originally thought that, okay, if I give this 2 months, I'll be ready. I'll have tracks that are ready to go. But the deeper I started getting into it, the more I realized I actually don't know, and I still need to figure out a lot. After about 6 months, something clicked. My tracks weren't sounding as terrible as they was in the beginning, and I got the confidence to start sending my tracks out to labels to see if I can get them signed. So it's been about 2 weeks now since I sent the first emails out to the record labels, and here's the results. We got a total of 4 responses out of the 35 emails that I sent out. 1 email essentially just saying no, doesn't really fit the sound that we're trying to go for. 1 that led to a phone call. Seems like they're interested but just nothing there yet. And we got 1 big response. 1 label even wanted to sign a track, and I was super gassed. I cannot believe it. So one of the labels that I sent to, they got back to me and they literally said they want to sign one of the tracks that I sent on the first go as well, the first batch that I sent out. This is like one of the bigger labels as well, so I am super gassed. I'm gonna send off all the things that they're asking for, and then we'll see what happens, but that's very good news. Yeah, I'm very happy about that. That's amazing. We went back and forth over email. They sent me the agreement, but unfortunately we just couldn't agree on the terms, and that deal fell through. But at least it was reassuring to know, okay, my tracks don't suck. I'm definitely on the right path. I really started to feel like I was hitting a stride. I was understanding how things worked. You see, it's a little bit different in hip hop and pop music. These days, songs are usually not much longer than 3 minutes. You need to make it catchy, the lyrics need to be relatable. Whereas these new tracks that I was making were double the length. We're talking like 4 to 5 minutes long. Sometimes just purely instrumental, no lyrics on top, with huge build-ups to have a massive drop, to have high energy, to going into low energy, and really just taking that listener on a journey. All with the goal of really making people dance. But after months of riding that high, I started to hit a plateau. I was making track after track, but it got to a point where I felt like the tracks were just not hitting anymore. Everything was starting to sound a little bit stale, a little bit samey. I've been making beats for like 2.5 hours-ish. Everything I'm making, it's not really happening today. I don't know what it is. Everything I'm making, I'm just not really feeling. I'm gonna keep going, but it gets frustrating when this happens. As nothing was feeling special or like me, the vision that I have for my tracks and the feeling that I wanted to put into it, I started to question myself a little bit and think, damn, have I actually made a mistake here? Because at the same time, I had rappers and singers hit me up for beats, and that felt like the easy option to go back to because the opportunities was there on the table. I felt like at that point though, that was a strong test, and I just needed to really focus, really lock in and keep going. To be honest with you, I don't really like what I made today. I felt like time really flew by and I was just procrastinating with my decisions, just completely overthinking the process, which is not a great place to be. You kind of just want to let it go, let it flow, and just let it all out. But sometimes that's just how it goes. Tomorrow we come with a fresh, clean slate and we go again. And we just turn up and try and give it the best that we can. There's a famous podcaster called Chris Williamson. He has this beautiful quote where he says, everyone has a Rocky cutscene moment. And what he's referring to here is the film Rocky, who is also the main character. He's a boxer. And just before he has the big massive fight at the end of the film, there's a moment where he's just training hard. And at times, it definitely felt like that. I definitely felt like I was in my Rocky cutscene moment. Not every single day was sunshine and rainbows where you just want to make music. Some days you just have to be disciplined and get the hours done. But the more I kept on going, I started to find my process. And I started mixing bits that I'd learned from making drill beats and making hip hop beats into my new style. Natural habits started to kick in and I was just overthinking way less. So after months of keeping everything that I made to myself, I started posting it online and sharing it with friends, sharing it with other DJs. I was getting DJs hitting me up, asking if they could get a copy of my track to play in their sets. I started playing shows here and there around the city and picking up on the way people were reacting to the tracks. And for the most part, it was all very positive. Through all of this though, I was constantly thinking about the end goal. Once my tracks are finished, once they sound good, then this will happen or that will happen. But actually what I realized, and I know you've probably heard this before, but it was really all about the journey. The journey was really fun. I got so much fulfillment out of just trying to discover my sound and creating music almost every day. And the truth is, it just never ends. As a producer, you're always constantly evolving as you get better at your craft and you learn more about production, but also as you just experience new things in life and you take in new inspiration. And that's what really excites me moving forward. Let me show you this. This is a piece of paper that I laminated because I read it every day. And one of the key things it says on there is to keep going. I know it's a reminder to do just that. Looking back over the year, being locked in, it's definitely made me a better producer, and it all just comes down to sticking to the process and trusting in the process too. So to answer the question, was it worth it? In my opinion, 100% definitely yes. It came at a cost, a lot of sacrifice, whether that's with family and friends, but a cost that I was willing to pay, and I think honestly in the future it will pay off. In my opinion, this is like a rite of passage for every music producer. There has to be a period of your life where you're just locked in, trying to figure it out, regardless of whatever genre you make. And even just outside of music, if you want to get good at something, you just have to put the hours into it. You have to put the time into it. In 2024, I was very much inside, but moving forward in 2025, I'm going to continue to make as much music as I can, but also I want to share a lot more. I have put some of my stuff out on SoundCloud, but I haven't done an official release yet. So I definitely want to be dropping some more stuff on Spotify and streaming platforms. And also another goal of mine is to be outside performing. If you've made it this far in the video, I appreciate you watching, and I hope you come on this ride with me as I continue to share my journey.